Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's doing something different for Halloween. I love Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I really enjoy the music, and because this is a music review channel, I thought why not take my love of that show, take Halloween, and make a video all about the music to Series 2. That is to say, Season 2 in American English. Now my general thoughts on the series are it's as good as the first. It's probably better than the first series that came out so long ago. I don't like it as much right now, but I know I'm going to. I mean, just as an example, the episode Friends, I didn't like that hardly at all, and then I was just watching it again for probably the 5th time right before recording this, and I'm just brain friends, and I end up really liking it, and I feel like I really understand the deeper concepts, the nature of toxic friendships, and all these sort of things. You know, like the thing about Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is that it hits you right off the top, and you think it's funny and it's cool and it's creepy, and then maybe you get stuck in the lore, but hopefully you go deeper than the lore, because the lore is actually not the most interesting part. It's actually how they explore these themes, which are not always explored in other forms of media. So I'm going full internet. I am doing an actual tier list. I went on tiermaker.com. Well, had my kids help me figure out how to do it. And I'm going to edit this video. You're going to see. I'm going to make a couple edits so you can actually watch me go through this. Now, I need to say, I am always late to the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared party. I first learned of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared because of a game theory video. Okay, MatPat, the famous, infamous internet guy who I actually think is quite important and impressive, and I think his time will come in terms of how he's appreciated by the larger public. But that's how I learned about this show. And so that was 4 years ago, okay? 4.5 years ago. And so I got really into it, even though the last episode aired 6 years ago, and even though it's been around for over a decade, since the first episode. But I'm not always online just because I'm a YouTuber and just because I'm going to be doing a tier list. I didn't know that this existed. I had no idea. So my family got into it. We got so into it that my now wife, the Dr. and Mrs., she basically had just met me, and the kids and I were really into the show, and she thought to make Halloween costumes of all three of red guy, yellow guy, and duck. Everyone does a red guy. Who does duck? Who does yellow guy? So she made these amazing costumes, which you're going to see. They were so good, I took a picture, and the creators of the show liked the post and showed that it was good. So that's how big of a fan we were. We had a whole Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared party where we made aspic and we got creative and we took sticks and we did the whole thing. But guess what? I had no idea the second series was out. I had no idea. I'm a super fan, but I didn't know it came out in the end of September. Do you want to know how I learned Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared Series 2 came out? The Black Country New Road Reddit, where someone posted the song Memory saying, a new song with Isaac. It's very funny. It does sound like a Black Country New Road song. And I was like, oh, is that out? And so since I discovered that last week, I've been doing nothing but listen to, I've been reviewing a lot of albums too. But as far as watching stuff, this is the main thing I've been watching, really focusing on it. And I want to just really get into what makes these songs good, bad, or in between. Now, what are my criteria for songs? Not everything that is a song on the series is going to make it into this video. In particular, I'm not covering the outro songs because the outro songs are very clearly outtakes. They're just goofing around in the studio. They're funny, they're good, they deserve respect, but they're not worked out songs. So anything where I think that it's just one or two people improvising, I don't count that as a song. No thank you to the song, Todney. Like Todney's song. No thank you to the song. No thank you to the song. Those general, shake the man, if you see it, shake his hand. It may be good, but it's not done. It's not cooked. It's not fully cooked like a shepherd's pie. So that's one criteria. So I think I only have 16 songs on the tier list. Now, how am I determining what's good and what's bad? Now, first of all, I'm an always positive show. So even though some of these are going to be ranked on the bottom, I still think they're great. I don't think there's a bad song this season. I don't think there's a bad episode this season. I don't think Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared has ever made anything less than one of the best things that's out there. Okay? That's my base level. All right, much like I did a Smiths tier list with Foreign Men in a Foreign Land. My least favorite Smiths album is still one of the best albums in the world, right? So the criteria is this, though. One, melody and music. So like, how good of a song is it? How well developed is it? How interesting is it? How the instruments good? Is there any kind of structure to it? Is it a successful satire of the? I guess I'm editing, so I'll be right back. Hey! All right. Well, he stopped barking. I think actually that was a delivery of my Makami album. So the first question is that melody music. How successful of a satire is it? I'm also factoring that in, not just how well written is it, how interesting the instrumentation, but does it successfully imitate the thing it's trying to imitate? Some of these songs are sort of like musicals, where they come from the perspective of the characters, so they're supposed to act like a musical does, where they express the feelings and thoughts and emotions and actions of the characters. The other side, of course, is the didactic children's story, where it's supposed to imitate a song that might be sung during a children's show. Okay, so that's one category. Let's call it the music category. Then there's the humor/intelligence. As you may or may not know, humor and intelligence are intricately linked. Please read the works of French critic Henri Bergson, where he talks a lot about it. It's part of what I like about Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, is that most of the humor, if not all of it, really is located in a very kind of high register. Try and keep up, mate. It's very smart. So like, if something makes me laugh on this show, it's always because it makes me think as well. And we'll get into that. What's probably my favorite song in the whole season is all based on just one simple line, which I think is as funny as it can be while being as smart as it can be. So, melody, music, humor, intelligence, and then the third thing is just virality. Just how stuck is it in my head? Brain Friends is a great example. I'm not sure how smart it is. I'm not sure how good of a song it is, but its virality is off the hook. Off the telephone made out of sticks and mud. Mud and rocks? I forget. So, let's go over to the tier list. Let's keep this weird edited show going. Maybe Toby will bark again. Smash the like bucket if you like me going off and doing weird stuff like this. Tell me in the comments if you'd prefer me not to. No thank you for the song, Todney. You tell me. What do you think? All right. Oh, you know what? Before that, I want to show off my wife's costumes. So, you want to see it? You want to see the 3 costumes? Maybe I'll get me and my older kids to sing the 3 of Us song. The 3 of us, just 3 of us. Look closely and you'll see. Wasn't that a lot of fun? It was. Stay tuned to the very end. You'll see the outtakes. So let's talk, right? Let's talk about this tier list. I want to start off by actually explaining what the tiers are. This took me a little while to do this. You see how much editing I'm doing. Again, I would just love some comments and thoughts on, like, tier them. I'm going to rank them so you can figure out what is the best song according to me, according to my very particular criteria. So at the bottom, we have, wow, I didn't like that. One of my favorite jokes from the entire season. Above that is, less than the worst, but try and keep up, mate. Songs that aren't quite there, but pretty close. Yeah, it's good. That's just your standard, very good, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared song. Not the best, but just very solid and definitely contains that virality and intelligence that I love. Then the best of the best is Crack Into the Chuddy D's. Those are really just the best songs on here. And then, of course, in the attic of the house where they live, there is 1 floor above that we haven't seen. Like, you go up there and you see there's the lady, and she's there and she's controlling them. And there's 1 floor above. 1 floor above the best is S tier, which I'm just calling Shredder tier. Okay, so let's go into the songs. Let's start off with the intro. 3 of us, just 3 of us. This has to go very, very high. I think it has to go into Crack Into the Chuddy D's. the best of the best. I mean, it does so much. First of all, the fact that they have an intro song is great. It really shows the new scope, the new ambition of this project, sort of going beyond where they were, just making little tiny videos. It is extremely catchy, extremely viral, especially the bigger, bigger. It's also very smart, because it starts off with look closely and you'll see while you see three more. So there's actually six. So just right off the bat, we see that it's all just completely false. There's also a malleability to it. So because there's a section where it can change, it allows that even though it's the same every time, it's different each time, and it plays all these different, I think maybe of the 6 episodes, we hear it maybe 7 or 8 different times. They seem to be aware of the theme song in the actual show itself. Also, I'm pretty interested in just in general, the existential horror of personal pronouns. So I don't mean this in a gender sense, right? I don't mean pronouns in that sense. I just mean like I, you, he, she, it, we, you, plural, them, right? They, like the personal pronouns that we use all the time. The fact that they say there's him and you and me. And those are actually disjunctive pronouns, but still, you get the idea. Like the idea of like people are often represented by pronouns, and those pronouns are often confusing. Sometimes they are impersonal pronouns, especially the pronoun one. They will often say all the way throughout this entire series about things being one. Like, oh, that's the guy, that's the one who has one of himself. Or I know which one you are during the cemetery scene, during the funeral scene. So I think it's very important that they're sort of showing this question of identity and existence just by there's him and you and me, and just the idea that it reduces all existence into these 3 characters, and that in all characters there's him and you and me. That implies a certain amount of, not only is there like otherness, like you have to recognize the other, but then there's a third where you have to recognize the other of the other. And that's sort of the crux of the show. Every day we all hang out to find out what we talk about, just funny, weird circular logic. And it's just a complete, it does everything that, Get Creative, which I think is the definitive Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared song does. It's catchy. You want to sing it. I mean, you saw us sing it outside. My kids haven't even finished watching the second season yet. They've been watching like one a day for the past, I guess, 4 days. But they already know all the words. So let's get to the next song in the episode, Jobs. They started off really strong, and I'm going to put that crack into the Chuddy D's as well. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that above intro. I think Jobs is just an amazing song. It's what they did with the first season too, where Get Creative is just so strong. And the reason why is the first and final lyric. As a language teacher, this is, I think, the smartest and the funniest lyric that there could possibly be. You can be anything that you want to do. I teach French. That is my full-time job. When you teach any language, you have to teach irregular verbs. The reason that verbs are irregular is that they are used the most. They are manipulated and changed the most in language. Therefore, the most important verbs are the most irregular. So when you teach language, you end up having these very philosophical conversations with your students, even when you're just trying to get them to learn how to say, I have a brother, or I am hungry. Être, avoir, faire, aller, these big verbs, to have, to be, to go, to do, they're all super important. And you end up having almost these existential conversations with your students about the difference between to have and to be. And I think we can divide all of human existence, and this, Sartre talked about this, I didn't come up with this, he talks about that all the time, être and avoir, to have and to be. But I think it needs to go one step further. I think when we think about the difference, the problems of existence and humanity is that we as a species, especially trapped in the capitalist hellscape, spend more time thinking about having than just being, right? So we need to be more at peace, be more present, all that stuff. But on top of that, the way that we have stuff is by doing something. The hell of productivity, the absurdity of productivity, which we see in this song where where yellow guy says, I can be the guy who plants the tree to chop it down to build a shed. And the shed is going to be there to house the instruments that he's going to use to chop down the tree. It's the circular illogic of capitalism, right? The way that it works. But you have to keep producing, keep producing, keep producing, keep making. What are you going to do? So the cliche is you can be anything you want to be. The reality is the way society treats us is you can be anything you want to do. I am just as guilty of this. I call myself Professor Sky. I tell you I'm a professor like 5 times every video because I can be anything I want to do. It's not just that I am a professor, it's that I do that work. I have the wonderful life that that doing provides to me. You can be anything you want to do. An amazingly simple, perfect lyric, as good as any songwriting can possibly be. I'm not going to include the Unemployed Brandon song on here, although I do like it. Interesting theme of shy older brothers in this. When describing the briefcase, again, talking about the horror of pronouns, he eats breakfast. He's one of those ones with one of himself. The great writing, the absurdity they're able to write into these 3 characters. Okay, let's move on to stress. Listen, I promise I'm not going to give everything crack into the Chuddy D's, but they come out of the gate so strong. The songs in the beginning are just so good. I'm even going to put stress ahead of intro. So stress is the song that's the duck talking, and it's really a companion piece to Jobs. We might want to consider it to be just one song because this is the nature of stress and work. Remember how the whole thing is you can be anything you want to do? Well, the sad truth is that by doing so much, we have made our own lives basically unlivable, and we have to manage it with stress. And what's funny about this amazing banger of a song, I use banger now unironically. Geez, what happened to me? I am way too on the internet. I'm making a tier and I'm saying banger. It's a very catchy, good song. I'm not going to say banger again. Feel free to put a down thumb on me saying banger. I'm 45 years old. For Christ's sake, it's so lit. It eats. Is that a thing people say now? Someone put that as a comment on my video, like you ate. I was like, do I look fat? That's what I thought it meant. But what's great is that it's the song that's supposed to be about relieving your stress, but you see it has the opposite result. He just gets more stressed because the ways that he's trying to clear his mind and become unstressed are actually stress inducing. Try to imagine all your thoughts are squeezed inside of a cube and the cube is a garden, but the garden isn't real. Like you're sitting there, like whenever I tried to meditate, I actually went to a meditation class at the church I used to go to. It's very hard. It's very hard. It's very hard meditating, trying to clear your mind. And really, he's not trying to de-stress. They're not trying to get him to de-stress. They're trying to get him to be a more efficient worker. Coming up next is The Big Day. So this is on the next section that's about death. The Big Day. Listen, I promise they're not all going to go into this section. I'm not that bad of a tier maker, but I really can't help it that these opening tracks are so good. I am going to put this ahead of intro as well. I'm going to put this ahead of intro because this is by far the catchiest song. And this really emphasizes what makes this episode so good. It's an episode about death, but nothing about it is really about death. The Big Day is this joke about a funeral being a big day and like having a song. And it's a wonderful satire of some kind of thing in a musical, right? Basically, all these things are broken down to musical or didactic, right? Either they're musical from a musical or it's didactic, it's made for kids to learn. And this very much has that feeling of a satire of getting ready for a big day. And the way that it gets mixed up with whether or not you're learning how to make a shepherd's pie. We should have another party where we make shepherd's pie. Whether you have shepherd's pie or whether or not you're going to a funeral, the interchangeability of that is just there. I'm going to move it behind the intro because it's definitely smart, but it's just sort of like that one joke smart. Coming up next is Stain's song, Stain Edwards, the Forever Boy. This is going to be the first one where I'm going to put it into, yeah, it's good. I really like this song, but it's the most musical of all the musical songs to the point where I think it's trying to be kind of annoying because it's sort of, every musical has that song like, I can do it. I can be the one to do it, right? Again, though, this episode is about death, but it's actually about creation. It's about staying, coming to life, and realizing how wonderful life is. But of course, he's surrounded by these miserable creatures who don't appreciate life and just want things to be as it is. I mean, that's the real tragedy, is that these characters don't want to be happy, or they don't want to be fulfilled. Look at these little icons I made too, right? How internet am I? Can you tell me in the comments? Oh, and tell me your tier list too. Um, and also just, I'm tempted to move this up here. I'm not going to. I'm tempted to though, because who really built the pyramids? People. Perfect answer. That is just a perfect answer. Next song is called Memories. This is the song that allowed me to figure out that um, this entire show existed, because it was like a Black Country New Road song. I like the song a bunch, but it's definitely one of my least favorite because, so I'll put it in the try and keep up, mate. Uh, it's like I can't quite figure out what it's satirizing. I guess it's sort of a musical. It's a sad bit in a musical. It's sort of funny, but it's like I watch it and I can't imagine where I'm going to come back to any of the lines again. Whereas like the Stain song, like now I'm 20 feet tall, like even that, even but like Memories, even though again, when I say I don't like it, I'm still saying it's great. Okay, but we're ranking amongst this, so I'm going to say that's Try and Keep Up, Nate. Um, Next is Family. Um, I'm sorry. That's gonna have to go down the bottom. I don't really like Tommy and Lily. I don't really like the characters that much. That's definitely my least favorite episode. It's very unsettling. There are things that I like about it. I like the absurdity. I mean, I love the concept that there's a belief of what a family needs to be. I mean, I'm in a very interesting family. I have kids and a wife, and I have teenagers and a baby. I have a reconstituted family. I have a non-traditional family. I believe that we need to destroy the concept of family. I believe that the concept of a nuclear family needs to be blown up. The nuclear family, the concept should be torn apart at an atomic level. I still haven't said a funny joke yet, but I'm going to pause like I did. So I like the theme of it. But the thing is, I guess a lot of people love the gore and the darkness of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I like it the most when it's not. I like it when it's disturbing but not gory. So like I don't like it when the hand gets stuck in the shredder at the workplace, but I like the unsettling feeling of the bad vending machine. Oh, by the way, where am I going to put the vending machine song? I didn't make it on here. I'm sorry. So Family, I don't know. It's not even that catchy. Like I don't have the song stuck in my head right now. And for the rest of these, like I can sing the song for you. So I think that's the main reason why it goes down to wow, I didn't like that. I do like how it has recorders in it and tambourines, which are intentionally children's instruments. So it is very clear what they're sort of satirizing, I guess. But okay. Next up is, now I don't even know if this should count. I Don't Want to Be in a Family, which is going to go ahead of the Stain song. And yeah, it's good. I'm partially not giving it credit because it's a cover. In the late 80s, after the Smiths had broken up, Morrissey went on to Sesame Street, and he sang this song, I Don't Even Want to Be in a Family. And I don't know why they didn't give him credit for it. Um, I said that this morning, and my daughter believes me. That's a joke. It's not a cover. But if you imagine it as Morrissey singing it on Sesame Street, I think you understand why I enjoy it so much. But again, it's very catchy. This is right on the line because it sort of feels like it's just one person singing. It feels like it might have been partially improvised. But it's this important other idea, right? Where this whole show is challenging the concept of family, about whether you have a nuclear family, and then whether or not you need a family, whether or not you can find happiness by yourself. I like that it's kind of a Western, and it's got the Casio drums. Everybody's talking about a family, but I never needed one. It's very smart and sad. And again, next time I eat by myself, whenever I can eat a family meal, I'll just eat it slowly. Beautiful, funny, absurd. That's that smartness that this show is able to do, because it sort of works and it sort of doesn't. It just pierces you, you know? What a great show. Next song I would say is on the Friends one, What Best Friends Do. I've had some trouble with this episode, so I think I'm going to put that down and try and keep up, mate. I guess I'm going to keep it there. Again, this is right on the line where it almost sounds like it's improvised. Like there's only one time where you hear him harmonizing with himself, where it couldn't just be him. But it's a funny song. But again, it's not stuck in. Nope, going down here, because I don't have it stuck in my head. Like business idea. Oh, actually, no, I do. It's going back up. I do this whole episode took me a while to really understand that it was about toxic friends, that it's about like the nature of friendship, how like I was the eagle at many times in my life where I felt like hurt and ostracized by other people. So I tried to like tell other people how to be good friends, but I just kind of suffocated them and annoyed them and made it harder for them to connect. And I wasn't actually trying to be their friend. I was just desperately holding on to them for some sense of self. That's what the show is talking about. This is going way deeper than just like good friends, bad friends, and this is making fun of a thing you might watch in school. It really is going to the nature of a toxic friendship that is based on alienation. Alienated people forming toxic friendships. So you go ahead, you tell me in the comments, other great media, be they books, movies, about friends, not boyfriends, girlfriends, or wives, but who form a toxic relationship based on their mutual alienation. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Columbine. That's not in my notes. Anyways, geez, I just went all hungry. I'm scared. I am hungry. I can eat a family meal. I see it slowly. The way he sings kind of reminds me of Jarvis Cocker from Pulp. But I'm an American, so I hear British accents. I get them all mixed up. And then we get to Brain Friends, and this is one that has just jumped up the charts, all the way up to Chuddy D's for me, just because it is such an efficient imitation of a intro song, Brain Friends. Like it's just totally stuck in my head. I like all the little characters. I like the shy older brother. I love the idea of retreating into your own mind as the only way to find solace, but it's a fake solace. I like the glossiness of it, but really it makes it into the Chuddy D category just because it's just so catchy. It's so viral. It's got like maximum virality. It's got a good amount of intelligence, but maximum virality. Then we get to the worm in your mind, which I'll put into, yeah, it's good. It's, again, not like, it's so smart that it makes up for the fact that it's not, I don't think, for their standards, a particularly catchy song. Okay. It's like, it's very like dark and interesting, but what it does is it highlights the issue, right? Which is that we are the cause of our own isolation. So that worm in our brain is the thing in our brain that fills us with self-doubt. And that's what makes us unhappy. And that's what makes us bad to other people. That's what makes us bad friends. That's what makes us so obnoxious that no one wants to be with us. So even the worm in our brain has a worm in our brain. So all of us, essentially, all of our interpersonal issues are caused by our own insecurities, is the thesis of this song. So that gets up there in that, yeah, it's good. Even though it's not particularly catchy, because that's super smart. and I'm going to watch the show. I'm going to watch it over and over again. I'm going to watch it with my kids 3, 4, 5, 10 times. And there'll be a time where I know I'll just say, hey, it's got a worm in your brain. We've all got worms in our brain. I don't like that they end by fighting. Next up is Transport. Wow. I didn't like that. This is going to be the most upsetting, I think, to people. But I don't like the character of Transport. I understand that they're trying to sort of indicate the sickness of modernization and of transport itself. But just, kind of Thomas the Tank Engine with tuberculosis, like that's sort of funny. But again, it's just laying too hard on that horror aspect. So like, I'm not super duper into it. I do. Damn it. I got to move up. Sorry. I'm I'm gonna move ahead of friend just because the line, the plane is the bus when it lives in the sky. There's a whole like theme in this show about interchangeability. Again, it's about this idea of one and one, you know. I know which one you are. At Duck's funeral, I know which one you are, and that's one of the key lines in here, where that's how tenuous their relationship is, how much friend they are. So I actually had to move it up higher because that's so interesting that it's implied, you know, it's put there, and also just the way he says "mouth wet." That's that virality that I'm talking about. Like, you know, hopefully over the summer I'll go swimming or whatever. I'll go to a pool with my kids when we're at a hotel. If I jump in and like I accidentally open my mouth wet. Going fast is the next song. That's also going to be try and keep up, mate. I think I'll put that ahead of friend as well. This just seems to me that they wanted to do their version of moving right along by the Muppets. Moving right along, which is cool, but it's not super catchy. It feels a little fill in by the numbers. I do, yeah, I don't know. No, you know what? I'm moving fast down here. Yeah, I just, it's that one of all of the songs, that one feels the laziest. So I don't like Family because I don't really like the Todney characters. They make me uncomfortable. But that I think is just the laziest. Electricity is going up here at the end of the crack into the Chuddy D category. I like it because it feels meta. It feels like they know this is the last episode, so they have to make the most "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" song they can. It feels like it's a comment on itself. It's not a comment on the thing it's imitating, it's a comment on their imitation of the thing. Does that make sense? Because that whole last episode is so meta. It's all about the nature of why are they there. It really is building on the lore. So, in my opinion, it's so smart because it is a "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" song about "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared." The final song is the combo song. And I'm going to put that at "Try and Keep Up, Mate." I almost want to put it in the "Wow, I didn't like that." But this is where, you know, they have the song about boundaries and about rocks. Again, like they work so hard. I mean, the amount of effort they must have put into the show is incredible. Frankly, it's just bizarre. You know, the amount of different mediums and styles that they did. We really, really need to give them more credit. I mean, anyways, the fact that I didn't know this came out until some stupid Reddit thing. But it doesn't quite work. Like what I would want is if they're going to have these big brain guys, try and keep up, mate. If I had these big brain guys, I would want the two songs to be maybe different rhythms or different keys, but they work too well together. It doesn't actually require any kind of big guy, big brain thinking to merge these songs together. And I think they're talented. I know they're talented enough musicians that they could have mixed it in all together where it all worked. I left out one song. It's not even a proper song. According to my own criteria, this should not be a song, but it's "What About My Shredder." Now, already, this has attained meme status. And I don't like to be a follower, I like to be a contrarian. But what about my shredder? What about my personal shredder? That's the only song that goes to the room above the attic. Is it smart? I don't even know. I mean, I sort of understand what shredder is, and I guess a shredder represents more of the sort of end of capitalism and consumerism, that you have to buy something to destroy something that you already bought. I suppose that's it. It's a great testament to the wasteland, you know, especially coming off the previous episode where they travel to the junkyard. Maybe there's a whole theme about disposability where the characters themselves can be replaced. You know, I mean, Duck is a second Duck because he's been replaced by Stain Edwards. You know, there's a whole theme about just the replaceability of all of us, how we're all interchangeable with our different pronouns and which one are we? And we're all just consuming consumers that are then just put into a shredder and destroyed. Okay, that's what it's about. But it's just so catchy and so viral, and it's just the joy. Just the joy. What about my shred? I could never figure out who my favorite character was in the first season. But this season, I know. It's got to be Duck, at least for now. So that's my tier list. What is your tier list? What do you think? You know, like how would you rate it? So here's how I rate them. 1, Shredder. 2, Jobs. 3, Stress. 4, Intro. 5, Big Day. 6, Brain Friends. 7, Electricity. 8, No Family. 9, Stain Song. 10, Worm in Your Head. 11, Memories. 12, Transport. 13, Friends. 14, The Combination of Rocks and Boundaries. 15, Go Fast. 16, Family Song. Let me know. All right. Was this a fun idea? Was this cool? I don't even care. I had so much fun doing this. Not as much fun as I had recording out on the porch. All right. Happy Halloween, everybody. There's the camera. Just wait a second. I'm going to get it all set. Can't tell how my eyes look. Okay. I'm going to make sure my hands are in this thing.
Has it started yet?
No. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. There's 3 of us, just 3 of us. Look closely, you will see.
I forgot what that was.
Okay.
What?
Wait, I can't do the duck voice. So you
No, you do.
What does yellow guy sound?
Yellow guy's like, the 3 of us.
So you do duck voice and I'll do the stupid guy.
Okay, that works. Okay. 3. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. There's 3 of us, just 3 of us. Look closely and you'll see. There's 3 of us, just 3 of us. There's him and you and me. And every day we hang about to find out what we'll talk about. There's 3 of us, just 3 of us, just 3. Okay, now you walk a little bit closer to the camera so they can see how awesome your thing is. Just walk in front of it. Whoa, fudgy. Awesome. Okay,